Hello, Archie Dunlop here with Talking Astrology with Archie on Friday, December the 15th, 2023. This is going to be a quick video. It doesn't have a specific topic. Now, don't worry, I am going to be putting out a video later in the day, and that video later in the day I'm going to talk about Hunter Biden. So the problem with Hunter Biden was that I didn't have a time of birth. But now the time of birth has emerged, so I've got a time chart for Hunter Biden. And I know that some of you are interested in Hunter Biden, and so I am going to be looking at his horoscope, and I will be putting out that video later today. But what I'm going to do now in this short video is I'm just going to look at the astrology and I Ching for today. So it will be quick, but don't worry, another video will be coming out very soon. Okay, so let's look at the astrology for today. So it's not a particularly dramatic picture. The main feature is the moon going into Aquarius. So this is the chart for December the 15th, noon, New York. So New York time, you can see that at noon in New York, the moon was at 29 degrees, 27 minutes Capricorn. So it was just on the verge of going into Aquarius, but not quite there. So the moon actually goes into Aquarius New York time at 12:56 p.m. So just before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you are in London, that means that the moon goes into Aquarius just before 6 o'clock in the evening. If you're in Los Angeles, Portland, Oregon, Vancouver, British Columbia, then the moon will go into Aquarius at around 10 o'clock in the morning. So it does depend where you are. So if you're in the Americas, you've got the moon in Aquarius certainly for pretty much for the last half of the day. If you're in London, Western Europe, then the moon will be in Aquarius in the evening, this evening. If you're in Australia, New Zealand, then the moon is going to be in Capricorn all day long. So just before the moon goes into Aquarius, the moon makes a conjunction with Pluto. So Pluto, Moon-Pluto conjunctions, they do happen every month, so they're not they're not unusual events. But there may be sort of moments of obsession, moments where we're perhaps very concerned about detail. I mean, this is because it's Moon-Pluto in Capricorn, but detail in a quite obsessive way, and we might want to hang on to things. So it may be difficult to let go with the moon conjunct Pluto. Even after the moon has gone into Aquarius, when the moon has passed the conjunction with Pluto, there might still be a tendency to hang on to things. Maybe that moon-Pluto conjunction is going to linger a little. Because, Aquarius is a fixed sign. Aquarius does not really like change. It's moon in Aquarius, really believes in itself, and likes to be a bit different. Now, will we notice a big difference when moon moves from Capricorn into Aquarius? Well, both Aquarius and Capricorn are ruled by Saturn, so there is a somewhat downbeat feel to that. But Saturn's rulership of Capricorn and Saturn's rulership of Aquarius is a little bit different. And Capricorn is a negative sign, and because it's it's feminine. It's an earth sign. Aquarius is a positive sign. It's an air sign. So Aquarius is more the active principle of Saturn. It's not just about wanting things to be in order, but wanting to actually positively interact with the world to create the kind of order that we want. That's why Aquarius is often connected with fascism and totalitarianism. Forget all this dawning of the age of Aquarius, Aquarius being a nice, wonderful, fuzzy, idealistic sign. Well, idealistic in the sense of the idealism of the revolutionary, or the idealism of a totalitarian state. So as the moon moves into Aquarius, we might notice that people are, making some effort to be more controlling. Or perhaps we're going to be more controlling. We're going to have ideas about the way the world should be organized. Now, as far as midpoints are concerned, Mercury is conjunct the Venus-Saturn midpoint. There is, let's see, there's Saturn, there is Venus, and you can see Mercury is on the Venus-Saturn midpoint. So the Venus-Saturn midpoint is about the principle of restraint, particularly emotional restraint in relationships. The Venus-Saturn pair can be quite cold, can focus on the material aspects of things and discarding the emotional side of things. And that kind of ties in with moon in Capricorn, moon in Aquarius. So with Mercury conjunct the Venus-Saturn midpoint, we do have to be careful what we say, particularly in terms of close relationships. For example, we might say something to a partner that is really quite cold and cutting, and cuts through the emotion, ignores the emotional reality, and not the emotion, the vibrancy of the emotion that should be there. But Mercury on a Venus-Saturn just brings it all. It's like a bucket of cold water. It can be. It sort of can reduce relationships to their material components. So be wary of what you say. At the same time, Venus is opposition the Jupiter-Uranus midpoint. You see, there's Jupiter and Uranus together in Taurus, and Venus is opposition this. So this is another midpoint that could have an impact on relationships. It might actually be quite cold as well, but in a very different way. Jupiter-Uranus is about the principle of freedom. The Reinhold Ebertin, in the combination of stellar influences, he describes the Jupiter-Uranus pair as a thank the Lord combination. We're free, relief. So Venus opposition Jupiter-Uranus is going to have expectations of freedom in relationships. So if there have been relationships that we have felt that they have been holding us back, well, I suppose now might actually be a good time to get rid of them. So maybe if you want to end a relationship today, then perhaps with Mercury on the Venus-Saturn midpoint, telling someone exactly how it is, and Venus opposition the Jupiter-Uranus midpoint, the desire for freedom, now might be the time to do it. And don't forget, the moon is moving into Aquarius, which is that freedom-loving sign. Okay, so now I want to move to my forecasts for the 12 signs. So these are my forecasts for today, which is Friday, December the 15th, 2023. Aries, you like to do things differently, and today you can really stand out. You're the one who bucks the trend, who doesn't care what other people think, but you care about other people, and you recognize that in order to be compassionate, you often have to bend the rules. Right now, purpose is more important than success. Taurus, you've had lots of thoughts and ideas, some good, some not so good. And now it is time to distill things into a single actionable concept. In the process, you may have to do things differently, but you know you're on the right path. Elsewhere, some members of your family are confused, and it might be a good idea to bring them down to earth. Gemini, what used to be restricting is now liberating. You can see that new tools are available, that you are now stronger and better able to deal with the opportunities coming your way. But you have to be open-minded, and you need to accept that you haven't got all the answers. By following someone else's example, you can become a nicer person. Cancer. When you first get to know about something, it often seems straightforward. And it is only later that you start to appreciate the complexities. And this applies not just to problems and tasks, but also to people. Relationships change, and they often become more layered, with pockets of emotion coming to life when you least expect it. Leo, you perhaps feel that you're not getting sufficient appreciation. Maybe you're doing all the work, and at the same time you're being ignored. But things are changing. You're moving on to other people's radar, and what you do or don't do starts to really matter. And it's against this background that certain key relationships can strengthen. Virgo. Right now, you have the capacity to make people feel better about themselves. For example, by building up their strengths. In this light, a few kind words can go a long way. But if you focus too much energy on the needs of other people, you could exhaust yourself. So a small amount of selfishness wouldn't go amiss. Libra. At first, you might be hesitant. There seem to be a lot of things to sort out, and you may be concerned that you haven't got what it takes to make meaningful progress. But at some stage, you'll find yourself in your element, doing what you want to do and being able to discover new and interesting things. Scorpio. Today, you're as sensitive as ever, and you can feel what's going on around you, both on a collective and an individual level. And if anyone is hurting, you're likely to be the first to know. After all, Mars, your ruler, is making a trine aspect to Charon, a comet often associated with healing and pain. This gives you an opportunity to make a fortunate impact on other people's lives. Sagittarius, with the moon making a conjunction to Pluto, there's a general concern about money. When you look around you, it might seem that it's the only thing that matters, almost to the point of obsession. But obsession can't last forever, and soon enough people's priorities will change. What really matters, though, is getting the message across. Capricorn, you have to get the balance between positivity and negativity right. There are things that need to be criticised, people that need to be criticised, but you also need to have a positive message. If you want to tear something down, you must have something positive with which to replace it. Some arguments need to be backed up with facts, and very often it's going to be financial facts. Aquarius, it's time to raise your head above the parapet and to start interacting with the world. At first it might be difficult, not everything is to your taste, but you have something unique to offer, and you can almost force people to think differently about everyday subjects. But communications are two-way, and non-verbal messages should be accepted and processed. Pisces. The Sun is moving towards a square aspect with Neptune. It's not exact yet, but it is starting to create confusion. Indeed, you yourself may be starting to be the one who is messing things up. You may be giving off mixed messages, and your own sense of direction could be weak. So try to be clear about what you want. And if you don't understand something, be honest about it. So having done that, I'm going to move to the I Ching. As always, I ask the question, what is Friday going to be like for those watching this video? And I got a single hexagram. In other words, it is locked. So what I mean by locked is that none of the 6 lines on this hexagram is actually moving. So it's kind of stuck. And if you've got a locked hexagram, it often means that not a great deal is going on. Maybe this kind of chimes with this whole video. This video is quite brief. Astrologically, there's not a great deal going on. Okay, the moon's going into Aquarius. We have got some potentially interesting midpoint combinations, but it's not. It's astrologically, it's not a very busy day, and so we've got this hexagram 60 limitation. So the imagery of this hexagram, we have at the bottom 3 lines represent a lake, and the top 3 lines represent water. And the Wilhelm translation of this hexagram, the Wilhelm version of the I Ching, says that a lake is finite and water is infinite. And so what this is saying is that the lake is us. We are finite, but the water is infinite. There are an infinite number of possibilities out there. It's true. But we ourselves can't deal with infinite possibilities. We have to decide what's important. So it's down to limitation. We have to limit ourselves to a particular set of goals, a particular set of tasks. We need to decide what we're supposed to be doing today, maybe for the rest of the week, what our goals are, what our purpose is. And then we have to stick with it. We can't, we mustn't allow ourselves to be distracted by extraneous information, because we just haven't got time and we haven't got the capacity. So that's what you need to do today. Just be very focused, exercise constructive limitation. That by constructive limitation, that's not just rejecting things for the sake of it. No, you're accepting what you want to do, what you want to put your energy into. That's important. And everything else, you can leave that for later. Maybe you don't have to bother with it at all. Okay, that is it. That's the message. So yes, this video has been very brief, but I am about to put up another video where I will be looking at Hunter Biden. It is an interesting chart now that we have a time of birth, and then I'll be considering the impact of the most important event in his life was probably that accident he had just before his 3rd birthday, a few months before his 3rd birthday, where his mother and his sister were killed. And I think that event is so traumatic that it must have messed up his life. So when you look at what's going on in Hunter Biden's chart, you always need to sort of remember what happened on December the 18th, 1972, and I will be looking at that. So that's it. If you like this video, then like it. If you're not subscribed and you like the video, then feel free to subscribe. And yes, if you want to buy me a coffee, there is a link in the description to this video. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I will talk to you again actually very soon, because I am about to put up a video on Hunter Biden.